Hi, I'm Dr. Jennifer V. Brown, your stroke specialist, aging gracefully with stroke due to sickle cell disease. Today, we're going to discuss if you want to improve walking, then train for walking by doing these activities first. When you train for something, it has to be specific towards that task. This is why I like task oriented training for gait improvements, walking improvements. It has to be a meaningful, functional activity. So, are you walking in a hilly area for your home? Are you walking along a beach because you live at a beach house? Are you walking through rugged land because you live on a farm? It has to include cognitive engagement. On a beach, it tends to slope laterally towards the ocean. On the farm, there are rows, so it's up and down. You have to think of those things. How should I turn and use my body in balance to anticipate what may happen? And then it has to be repetitive. Okay, what are you doing when you live on a farm? What are you carrying? What are you toting? On the beach, are you running? Are you walking in the water, up from the water, down towards the water? Are you carrying your cooler, your umbrella? So it has to be repetitive for the things that you do. And then it has to become progressively difficult. Am I adding weight at your torso? Are your arms outstretched? Are you carrying something on one shoulder? Are you talking on a phone? Are you drinking at the same time? I do all of those natural things during gait training. And then there's error detection and problem solving. What if this happens? What should you do? All right. And I try to let them figure that out without giving them the answer all the time. And I work into those possibility of errors. I just don't have it appear. All righty. And then task part whole practice. So maybe I say it's time to switch hands. So we walk with the item in the dominant hand, and then we walk with the item in the weaker hand. Then I may have to change the position or lighten the weight of the load that's being carried. All right. So task, part, whole, practice. Maybe we walk the distance just with the stronger arm holding the item. Maybe we walk the whole distance with the weaker arm holding the item. And then I say switch because that's what you tend to do when you're walking long distances and something gets heavy. You either put it down on the ground and switch, and then you keep on moving. And then I think about the environmental context in which or what they are walking on, various gate surfaces. They're often to the dunes, there's steps to get up to the beach, and there's a ramp. Can you do both of those things? What about curves? That is misspelled. CURBS. Stairs and ramps. And then when they're doing the stairs, they go up forwards and then down forwards, step over step. They go up sideways and then down sideways. And then they go up backwards and then down backwards again. So I'm trying to work the muscles differently as they do the task. Same with the ramp. They walk up forwards, go down forwards, they walk up backwards, go down backwards, and they walk down sideways, and then I reverse the sides that they do it. Same with the curves, up and down, forwards, backwards, and sideways. And the reason why we're doing the same thing over and over again with error detection, problem solving, cognitive engagement is because I'm trying to drive neuroplasticity. I want to make sure all parts of the brain is being reached with the motor activity, your vision, your sensory awareness, your frontal lobe for thought processes, execution, decision making, driving neuroplasticity by involving the entire brain. So let's look at some targeted gait phase activities. In mid stance, the opposite leg should be in mid swing. And look how her calf muscle here is activated laterally and her anterior tib. That's because I have a tension Velcro strap around her leg. that leg can start to come forward, meaning the calf muscles are working eccentrically. In terminal stance, I'm standing at a cabinet. The other knee is bent so that it can go into the cabinet space. The door is open. And I'm working on a trailing limb. All right. So the heel is just coming off the ground. Your toes are hyperextended like 0 to 30 degrees. And then we move to pre-swing where you roll over your toes. You have that 4-foot toe rocker, all right? And the heel is off the ground. You need 60 degrees of toe hyperextension. Your entire body weight is balanced on your toes. So make sure the sneakers that you have a good crease in there. I usually take the shoes and bend them and wrap duct tape around them. And I said, just let your shoes stay like this for 24 hours and break them in. So it's easier for you to roll over onto your toes. So we practice stuff barefoot and with the shoes on, and with the AF phone with the strap completely off and the strap on. My clients are able to move their tibias forward and backwards because I always use a tension strap based on the weakness of their leg. And now look at this. My client has gotten really strong, and I am making her do pre-swing by raising up on her heel with her other leg on the chair, bent. So she is forced to raise her body up without her left foot being on the floor. What do I do about swing phase activities? I think the most important one is getting the leg off of the ground. And we always train the hip by marching in place, but we never isolate the hamstring. I like to do this against the mat so that the femur doesn't move and the focus is on the hamstring. So I start from initial swing where you finish rolling over your toes and the great toe is about to leave the ground. And then I facilitate hamstring work by facilitating the leg up. Sometimes I have to help because it's against gravity. But then I do a lot of hold, relax, hold, relax, hold, relax in different increments of the range. Notice my thumb is in the groove right behind where her hamstrings attach on that lateral tibial plateau. I'm trying to facilitate that movement. If you really want good leg active movement against gravity, use a vibrator or use your hand and drive the muscle facilitation up from the knee joint up towards that gluteal fold. And because you want a shortening action to happen at those hamstrings. So, what are some clinical questions to ask? Has there been a thorough examination of strength and range of motion as it relates to the different parts of gait? For example, did you test for the quads eccentrically at loading response, which the knee has to bend 15 to 20 degrees? All right. And did you assess for that range of motion? Did you do it prone? Did you do it side lie? Did you do it sitting and ask them to bend the knee backwards? Has there been a thorough examination for tone and spasticity, two different things, as it relates to different parts of gait? Because increased tone may impact the ability to bend the knee. So you can't just say the hamstrings are weak. It may be the tone in the quadriceps. All right. It may be spasticity because spasticity is velocity dependent movement. So you load your foot on the ground and you come off of it real fast. That may induce spasticity for the posterior compartment and you go into plantar flexion movement. And then you can't pick it up because that overtakes the tibialis anterior to bring the foot up. So these are a few things that you should assess for. Just don't do your standard range of motion and strength test. Do the test based on what's required of the muscles and the joints for different phases of gait. Like swing phase, initial swing, that knee has to go between 45 and 60 degrees of flexion. Can that person do that? Do they have adequate range of motion? Don't forget, I'm your trusted source for all things stroke neurorehabilitation and ankle foot orthoses. If you want to learn more about what to examine for the lower extremity to get an optimal AFO for fit and function, check out my book. When you go to my website using this QR code, email me. I'll respond back with a surprise. The book is on sale. And don't forget about your references. We really have to make an effort to use the evidence in order to optimize the outcomes. And we have to make them patient centered so that they can feel that they're doing their best work with what's left from the damage from the stroke. Thank you for listening to this video. Bye.